How much do I pay per month for my Tesla? This includes my auto loan and by extension, how much I paid, my down payment and interest rate, insurance, maintenance, yearly registration, and how much my electricity bill has gone up by, otherwise known as my charging costs. Monthly cost is always a very popular topic, so let's discuss. Also stick around to the end as I'll be comparing how much I pay versus how much I make, which includes how much this channel makes me per month. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I own a 2024 Model 3 Performance, so it's the refresh and the top spec for the Model 3. I ordered my car back in April. It was within an hour of it becoming available on Tesla's website. I mention this because Tesla is always changing pricing and promotions, so my price is not the current price, but it's actually not that far off. I paid $52,990 plus $1,500 for the white interior, bringing the updated price to $54,490. I went with the stealth gray paint because I liked the way it looked. I thought it looked the best when wrapped in a matte PPF, and it was free $99, which is honestly my favorite price. Today, that same spec would cost you $54,990, so about $500 more. However, the white seats are free now, but it's just because of the whole EV tax credit limit. It's a whole thing. If you are on the fence about wanting or getting white seats, I highly recommend them. I love my white seats. But getting back to what I paid, as we can't forget about the fees. $1,390 destination fee, a $250 order fee, and a $4 tire fee, bringing the actual total to $56,134 for me. I did not buy full self-driving, which at the time was $8,000, simply because Tesla doesn't have a permanent transfer option, so the subscription just makes more sense in my opinion. Also, not to mention, autopilot is free with every Tesla, and that alone will keep the car in its lane, speeding up and slowing down based on traffic. A lot of people think that you need full self-driving to get autopilot, but you don't. And finally, tax, which for me is 6% or a little over $3,000. And I paid all that up front when I registered the car. So all in all, a little over $59,000. Last thing, I mentioned tax credit, and I wanted to quickly clarify that this car and this spec did qualify for the tax credit due to it being under the $55,000 MSRP cap. However, I don't qualify, but if you do, then just keep that in mind that you will just take $7,500 right off the purchase price, no waiting till tax time or anything like that. Effectively making this a $47,500 car. And the fees along with software don't count toward that MSRP cap, in case you're curious. Now for the car payment, because I did take out a loan. I put down exactly $15,884, leaving $40,250. The $250 being the order fee, which I paid when placing my order, so $40,000 financed. At the time that I placed my order, the lowest rate Tesla was offering was a 6.29% or somewhere around there. It was in the low sixes. My credit union, on the other hand, was offering a 4.99% at 60 months or a 5.29% at 72 months. Tesla doesn't change rates based on months unless you go up to an 84-month loan. Another thing to note is Tesla's approvals, and when I say Tesla's approvals, I actually mean like their banking partners. Whenever you finance through Tesla, it's not Tesla themselves giving you the money, like it's a third-party bank. It's normally like Wells Fargo or whoever they decide, and their approvals are only good for 30 days. And as the estimated date shown for my car to be delivered was more than 30 days, I didn't want to get approved, then have it expire while I'm waiting and have to go through another credit check. I just didn't want to deal with that. Plus, my credit union was good for 90 days. So of course, I went with my credit union. I got approved for the 4.99% at 60 months. I did not get approved for the 5.29% at 72 months. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. They gave me instead a 5.94%. I don't know. Still though, it was better than Tesla's, so I took the 72 months at the 5.94%. Meaning my monthly car payment on that $40,000 loan was $663.27. Now I have two tips here in case you are looking at ordering a Tesla, one for saving money and one for just speeding up how fast you get your car. The first one, saving money, make sure you use a referral. Right now, I think it's like $1,000 off if you use a referral. However, people are only allowed a certain amount of referrals per year. At the time that I'm recording this, all of my referrals have been used up. I'll still have it linked down below just in case you're watching this in the future. But if you do click on my link and it says that I've reached my limit, then just go and find someone else's. There's a ton of people online that are advertising their referrals. The referral does tend to change though. As of right now, like I said, it's $1,000 off. Secondly, in order to get your car quicker, choose cash when ordering, and then when you get a VIN, change to financing. Choosing cash has just been shown to give you priority. I chose cash, and I was actually one of the very first performance Model 3s in my state, even though as soon as I got a VIN, I just messaged in via the app and asked them to switch me to financing. But with the car payment out of the way, let's talk insurance, as that is the next biggest expense. And insurance lately has been something else. This is my insurance on screen. It's pretty much the max. I have a $250, $500, $250. My state does have a $0 glass deductible like requirement, so that's not something I added, but it is there. And my deductible is the max at $2,000. All this cost me a little under $1,200 for a 6-month premium, or about $197 per month. Please keep in mind though, I have another car in my household on my insurance along with the house, so I get like bundled discounts. I'm also 26, so I'm not getting that, been driving for 30 years discount, but I do have a clean record. Now, I'm not an insurance agent, but I would highly recommend not getting like your state minimums, especially if your state minimums are super low like my state's, as the cars are just super expensive nowadays. Like I'm pretty sure the minimum for my state is like 25, 50, 25. And well, the average new car purchased in the US nowadays is touching $50,000. As for the deductible, because I know some people are gonna ask, why is it that high? To be honest with you, if I could make it higher, I would. If it's anything under like $5,000, like I'm buying a $60,000 car, I have money put back for car emergencies, I'm not involving insurance. So my deductible, well, it doesn't really matter. Insurance companies are dropping people left and right nowadays, along with just pulling out of entire states. So to be honest with you, the less they're involved, the better, in my opinion. Having a high deductible also just keeps more money in my pocket. This isn't insurance advice. Do what you want to do. This is just what I do and my reasoning behind it. If you hate insurance companies and think that they're a massive scam and you just want to run to them for everything with a $0 deductible, well, then go for it. And if you're wondering how I got around my deductible maximum that my credit union required, well, I'll talk about it later. Also, I do tend to shop around every 6 months when I'm up for renewal, and these are the companies that I look through. Now, before we get into maintenance, I do want to talk about registration. The registration is actually only like 20 bucks, but my state does have a motor vehicle property tax, which does fluctuate based on the value of the vehicle, but it's around 500. And my state has a new EV like tax, and it's $120. So right around $620 per year or $50 per month. Also, a lot of states are starting to introduce a EV tax because, well, you're not buying gas, which includes road tax, so they got to tax you somehow. So you should probably look at your state and to see if they or have that or they're planning on doing it, just so you're prepared and not kind of blindsided. Next up, maintenance, which is pretty much zero. I've owned 3 Teslas at this point, and I've spent a whopping of, it's not exactly $0. Like I've spent a little bit of money here and there, but it might as well be $0. No oil changes, brake pad replacements. Like you may have to swap a cabin air filter for like 30 bucks every few years, but that's about it. You could calculate in tire rotations, but I normally do that myself, and the winter wheels I had from my previous performance fit my new ones, so I didn't have to pay for anything there. But to be honest with you, you should be buying winter wheels for any car should you need them. There are little things at the 2, 4, and 6 year mark that are mentioned in the manual and I've made videos on, but to be honest, they're pretty inexpensive and I don't even calculate them in. You could totally put back as little as like $25 a month for this car for maintenance and be completely fine. Subscriptions are up next, which I almost forgot about, but yes, this car does offer them and I pay for them. Kinda. Premium connectivity and full self-driving. I have an entire video on premium connectivity if it's worth it, and how to hotspot your phone to your car if you want to kind of get premium connectivity. There are some caveats, but it essentially gives your car an unlimited data plan for $10 a month or $99 a year. I personally think it's worth it, and at $8.25 per month, assuming that you buy the year up front, it's honestly not too bad. However, I do use referral points for mine, so it is technically free. I believe a year was like 2,500 points. Full self-driving, which I mentioned earlier, you can actually get via a subscription for $99 a month and can be stopped and transferred to other Teslas unlike the $8,000 permanent full self-driving unlock. You can also cancel and just straight up save money on months where maybe you're not driving that much. And just like my premium connectivity, you can use referral points for this. It's 6,000 referral points for 3 months worth of FSD, and that's what I do. And lastly, charging costs. I do literally all of my charging at home, where I am on a special electricity rate plan that makes my kilowatt hour cost cheaper at night, which is when I do all my charging, and most electricity companies are gonna have some sort of special plan like this that you can get as well. My electric rate during that off-peak time is 6 cents per kilowatt hour. I use Teslafy to track all my stats. I'll have them linked below. I'm not sponsored or anything. It's just I've been using them for years now. And via Teslafy, I can see that I used 460 kilowatt hours during August. At 6 cents per kilowatt hour, that is $27.60. Also via Teslafy, I can see that I drove almost 1,400 miles last month. 2,760 divided by 1,400, that's about 2 cents per mile. Now, as for supercharging, which I rarely use unless I'm road tripping, in my area, it's about 35 cents per kilowatt hour, which if you're starting to do the math is like 5 times as expensive as what I pay at home. If you're charging at home versus gas, you're gonna save a ton of money. However, if you're buying a Tesla without home charging and you plan to just supercharge, well, you're not really gonna save any money compared to gas. My car has an 82 kilowatt hour battery, and at 6 cents per kilowatt hour at home is right around $5 to fully fill up my car. Also keep in mind that I'm never actually going from 0 to 100%. It's more so like 50 to 80 or 40 to 80 per night, that is. But at a supercharger in my area where it's 35 cents per kilowatt hour, well, that's like $28. And $28 for a fill up is very close to what we would pay for the gas car in our household to fill up, and is around the same price as my entire monthly charging cost charging at home. Now, if you're looking at that supercharger cost and you're in somewhere like California, you may think that's actually not that bad. Well, you do have to remember that supercharging cost does tend to follow gas prices. For example, gas in my area is around $3 a gallon, and the supercharger rate is around 35 cents per kilowatt hour. But if you were to go to somewhere like California where gas is $6 a gallon, supercharger costs there are upwards, if not over 60 cents per kilowatt hour. So double the gas price, double the supercharger price. But to add everything up, so car payment, insurance, maintenance, registration, subscriptions, charging costs, $1,075 per month. Though the subscriptions, like I said, I get for free, so you can actually just minus $110 off that. So right around $965, or just round it up to $1,000. I mentioned in my other, like how much I paid per month video on my old Tesla, that $1,000 was around about 5% of my monthly income, which led to people asking what I did for a living, if it was all from YouTube, and even people using those sites that try and predict YouTubers' ad revenue. Yes, I am fortunate enough that this is my full-time job. Also, those sites that try to predict ad rev can be very inaccurate because it depends on the niche and if the creator uploads a bunch of shorts, as shorts don't make as much money as like longer form content. But yeah, instead of letting people use those sites that just give out wrong information, I figured why not just tell you all. I'm transparent, you all know this. Last month, so August, this channel made me in ad revenue $7,374.03, which to be honest is around what this channel averages nowadays. It can and does fluctuate, but that's pretty average. And if you don't know what ad rev is, it is the revenue that YouTubers make from the ads that are displayed on their videos when people watch them. Some people think that subscribers matter. They don't. It's all about views. That's how a YouTuber gets paid, or at least that's part of it. The other part is stuff like affiliates, sponsors, or just selling stuff. And due to contracts and agreements with those affiliates and sponsors, I can't tell you which company and what amount I get paid, but I can bundle them all up and give an estimate. For everything else, so affiliates, sales, sponsors here on the channel, it's around about $15,000 per month. However, as most of you know, I own test stuff, and none of that includes test stuff. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into test stuff, and I really do appreciate everyone that's ever ordered from us. And it's because of you all choosing test stuff that you don't see annoying VPN or mobile game ads here on the channel. I essentially don't need to rely on sponsors. Now, for people that made it to the end and are curious why I have a car payment making what I make, I'm not gonna sit here and try to act like that this isn't a good paying job. It is. I actually don't have a car payment. After sleeping on it for a few weeks, I just decided that an almost 6% interest rate wasn't something that I wanted to do. Also, we plan on moving in the spring and I'm gonna need a mortgage. I ended up paying like $150 over the course of like the month that I had the loan just to kind of make up my mind. So yeah, the car is paid in full, so just subtract the $663 from the $965. In reality, it's around like $300 a month, which is how I was able to get the $2,000 deductible. The bank can't tell you what to do if the bank doesn't own it. Now, I'm not one to give unsolicited advice, especially because like 70% of my audience is actually older than me, and I just feel kind of weird giving advice to people that are older than me. But if you are curious on just kind of my thoughts on how much you should be paying for your car per month versus your income, the general rule of thumb is no more than 10% of your monthly income on your car. If you're a big car person and absolutely love it, you can push that up to 20%, which, to be honest with you, I pretty much agree with those numbers. However, if you want to push that up to 25, 30%, I still don't have a problem with it, assuming all your other ducks are in order. Life is short, you really don't know how long you have, and if you want to spend a little bit of extra money on a nice car, go for it. People said I was stupid for buying my first Tesla back at, I was 22, and well, here we are. Like I said, not advice, kind of just my own food for thought. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to fire them off in the comment sections. I'll try to get back to you. You can also reach out to me over on Instagram, Twitter. If you are new around here and you do want to see more Tesla related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.